People have been talking about the lead up to Thor Love and Thunder for quite some time, with some box office predictions going as high as over $200 million domestically. Just a month ago, that's what they thought Thor Love and Thunder was going to make at the box office. Well, unfortunately, it didn't really work out that way. And unfortunately, in the worldwide box office, it was even more of a disappointment. Thor Love and Thunder goes loud with a $143 million opening weekend. Sunday AM box office update. The Taika Waititi directed sequel grossed $42 million yesterday. This will get Thor Love and Thunder to a $143 million opening per Disney. Worldwide is $302 million. That number is the 12th best opening for an MCU title, which, if you put that in perspective, that's about pretty mid-range. When you look at all the Marvel movies that have been released, this is the 12th best release for an MCU title. But very importantly, $300 million worldwide is a significant drop-off from what we just saw a few months ago. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness opens to $450 million global portal. It's pretty easy math. That's about a 33% drop-off from the most recent massive Marvel tentpole release. And to take everything into consideration, something you really need to know is that Doctor Strange only cost $200 million to make, which means it needed about little over $500 million to break even. Thor Love and Thunder, on the other hand, let's look at the budget. $250 million. That means it needs to make at least over $600 million to even think about breaking even. So I didn't think we would ever be in doubt of this movie not making money, but we actually are there at this point. I still think it's very likely that this movie will get to $750, maybe even $800 million. But it is a legitimate possibility that Thor Love and Thunder could just barely break even. Are you kidding me? A movie with Chris Hemsworth, a movie where you pulled out all the stops. You brought the Guardians of the Galaxy together. You spent $250 million on this. And like I said, just up until a month ago, this was back in June, they thought that the lowest it could possibly is 155, but they predicted it to go up to $205 million domestically. And instead, we get an opening of 143. Now, $300 million, obviously nothing to scoff at, but this is not a normal movie. I mean, to put it in perspective, this movie made less than Jurassic World Dominion did its opening weekend. Not to say Jurassic Park isn't also a big franchise, but this only had a 59% drop. If Thor Love and Thunder drops anything like what we've seen with recent Marvel releases, like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, a 67% drop, that does not bode well. Doctor Strange made almost $950 million at the box office. If everything tracks, and of course, second weekend is huge for this, but if everything tracks, that would mean that right now, Thor would be on pace to make, just over $600 million, 625, 640, somewhere in that range, million dollars. That is not a success for a Marvel movie that you spent $250 million to make. That is barely thinking about breaking even. And that's pretty pathetic. Now, I watched this movie. I did not like this movie, but I honestly thought it was going to do way better than this. I thought it would do way better because there's so many just stupid little jokes in there, but maybe I'm wrong. And maybe people are getting truly tired of the same old Marvel formula. And I wasn't a big fan of Ragnarok. I thought it lost the serious tone that Thor needs to have, but a lot of people did like Ragnarok, did very well. In fact, when you look at Ragnarok, made $850 million in the box office, something I often like to point out. It made $112 million in China. You are not getting $112 million from China out of Thor Love and Thunder. So maybe people should really start to worry about what Marvel's looking like in the box office, because this, despite the way it'll be portrayed by everyone in the mainstream media and everyone who wants to defend Marvel, you cannot make any excuses for this. This is a huge disappointment for them. And this second weekend is really going to determine how well this movie does.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.